guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I thought I would talk about Cinder by Marissa Meyer and give you guys an update on my progress. I thought I would do a video every time there is a part, like I finish a part. So it's set up into 4 different parts, and I think it's like maybe every 8 or 10 chapters. So every 8 or 10 chapters, so every part I will give you guys an update on where I'm at and how it's going. So these videos will contain spoilers. I'll pop them in a playlist if you'd like to watch them all together, but this is the first one, and I'll be talking about chapters 5 to 8. And the reason I'm not talking about 1, 2 or 3 is because you really get to know Cinder and her lifestyle a lot in those chapters, and I feel like you should do that on more of a personal level and sort of have your own interpretation of that. So without further ado, let's start it off with chapter 5. In chapter 5 I talk a little bit about chapter 4, but not a lot. So in chapter 5, Penny gets infected with the plague while visiting the junkyard with Cinder. Cinder really thought she was the reason Penny had become infected, but when Cinder got tested by a med droid at the junkyard, it came back negative. Therefore, she hadn't gotten infected or had given it to anyone, and that was a real, like, oh, thank God I'm not the reason Penny is infected. Good, oh, thank Lord, thank you so much. I was so worried because Cinder and Penny really got along. I'm pretty sure it's Penny. I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. I do that a lot. So for me, it's Penny. It might be something else. It's someone else's name, so apologies for that. But Penny is Cinder's stepsister, and I didn't think they would have got along because it is based off Cinderella. And if you'd like to, I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but if you'd like to check out the unboxing for Cinder, feel free to check it out and click on the link down below, or at the end of the video I will leave the video up there, if that all makes sense. But in chapter 4 they were looking for cyborgs to test on and hoping to get volunteers to be tested on to help to find a cure, because they hadn't actually got one, and heaps of people were were dying from it and were catching it. And I sort of thought, could Cinder be immune because she hadn't gotten the plague and she was with Penny the whole time in the same junkyard? So, and I thought, well, why hasn't Cinder got it? So I'm kind of a bit like, oh, what's going on here? This is a bit suspicious. Cinder hasn't got it, so maybe she's immune to it. And I sort of thought, well, had the plague become airborne and they just hadn't known about it or thought about it? Because in the first couple of chapters, a lady who has a shop across from Cinder, she got the plague and she had to be taken into quarantine as well. In chapter 6, Cinder goes back to her apartment, and she knew her stepmother and stepsister would have known about and would have been told about Penny. They had masks covering their mouths, and the med droids were waiting for them. They all thought Cinder would have had the plague because she was with Penny. So they all thought she had the plague, but when she had already been tested, but she told them, like, I've already been tested and that I was clean, and they all checked that out and it was true, so they didn't worry about testing her again. They all knew she was fine. But Adri, also probably pronouncing this name wrong, blamed Cinder for her daughter becoming sick and getting the plague, and that really hurt Cinder. And Adria told the droids to take Cinder as she is volunteering her to be a test subject, and that destroyed her. It was sort of like, how could you do this? This isn't fair. I should be the one volunteering, not you can't volunteer me. And something Adri said, it's a quote, it's multiple sections from pages 64 and 65, and it is 5 years since Gran left you to me, but I never wanted you. But Gran would have agreed. Penny comes first. Our girls come first. If it weren't for you, Gran would still be alive, and Penny. Cinder was hurt by what her stepmother had said about her and her father. Like, if you could imagine what that could do to a kid, to a teenager, to anybody, to an adult, whoever, She didn't want to become a test subject. She lashed out and started attacking the Medroids. So the Medroids are pretty much like robots who are like androids that are medical people. So they are the ones, they can't get the plague. I'm pretty sure they can't get the plague. So they're the ones who go off and grab the victim who was given the plague, and they take them back to quarantine. Yeah, but she started to attack them, and she was convinced Adri didn't care about Penny. She just wanted the money the families got when someone volunteers. Because when someone volunteers to become a test subject, the families get a lot of money from like the government or like the people doing the testing or someone like that, to say like, oh, thank you for volunteering, this is for your family, and all of this stuff like that. And she ended up knocking out and destroying 2 of the droids, but was taken out by a 3rd, so she actually got electrocuted and ended up passing out, and her system, like her brain shut her down. Chapter 7, Cinder was taken into a room and tied down. She was currently unconscious, and and I can't pronounce his name. I cannot pronounce it, and I probably could in my head or similar, but I can't right now, so sorry about that. I'm just calling Doctor. Liked her because she was young and healthy. He didn't care much for older cyborgs. Not a lot in like interesting things happened in this chapter, which is okay. It wasn't a long chapter. It was only maybe 1 or 2 pages, maybe 3 at the most. And yeah, so not a lot happened in this chapter. But in chapter 8, Cinder woke up to people surrounding her. The doctor was behind a glass talking to her over the microphone, so there were Medroids in the room with her. And she realised there was medical equipment, surgical tools, IVs and needles, so she knew exactly what was about to happen. While Cinder was knocked out, she had dreamt and felt she was in a pit of hot embers, and she saw other cyborgs begging for water. So whether or not that was something she dreamt, or she might have seen it and was conscious during a period, and hasn't really said much yet. They injected Cinder with 1/10 of the plague. Stage 1, her immune system will kick in and try and destroy the microbes, I think it says, but will fail, and stage 2 will stage 2, the disease will come up like bruises on her skin, and that's when they'll inject the antibiotics, and that was all said on page 83. It's not word for word, I just sort of tried to shorten it. It was quite lengthy, so that's what that was. So far I'm giving this book a 7. I found it very difficult to figure out what time period it was set in. They talked about the plague, and I'm thinking, oh right, it's set sort of in the past. But then I thought, no, cyborgs, no, that's sort of futuristic. And then they talked about gasoline cars, so I'm like, that's the past. So what's going on? So that was a little bit confusing. It took a little bit to get into. Definitely not hard to read now. I'm finding it very easy. I found it very difficult to get into. It's definitely on my... It's going to be in my top 5 for my possibly October video. I'll do another top 5 of the books because I'm doing a to be read list in September, so keep an eye out for that video that's coming up. But Cinder is definitely one of the best books that I've read that involves sort of sci-fi / Disney, I suppose. I love this quote or bit down the bottom. This is not the fairy tale you remember, but it's one you won't forget. So I'm sort of thinking, because I'm sort of trying to pin together how this is related to Cinderella, because I'm sort of thinking, well, we've got the stepsisters and we've got a girl named Cinder who in the first couple of chapters is visited by a prince. So is that the only connection to Cinderella? I'm not entirely sure yet. They did talk about a ball, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. And a little bits were a little bit confusing to start with, I will admit. But I definitely suggest, if you're going to start this, try and read the first part, which isn't long. It's only this long. Because after that, it starts to make sense and you start to connect to different things differently. Definitely took me a little bit to get into. I think maybe, definitely 3 hours probably to actually sit down and make myself read the 8 chapters. But I'm glad I did, because now it's easy and it's hard to put down. But keep an eye out for, I'll call it part 2, because it's going through book 2. Well, yeah, that's what it's called. So I hope you all like this review. Sorry if it's not the best. I'm not really used to doing reviews, so I sort of started taking notes, and I thought I'd just read my notes that I've taken while reading the book, so I'll probably do that. If you like this video, please leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because there'll be other parts coming out, and I'm waiting for a book to come in the mail, so there'll be another unboxing coming along too. And don't forget to check out my unboxing of Cinder. And I hope to all see you in another video, and thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoy Cinder if you choose to read it.